say to leave?
I can't remember. I think it's between like 40, 45 grand a year, something like that.
Nice. Fuck Lauren, I'm close. I'm going to marry her.
Welcome back to Would John Rather. It's been a week since you've heard from us, as it normally is, apart from sometimes when it's two, which happened once. Has anyone got anything interesting to share with the group?
Here's one for you. This is a question my son knew the answer to that I didn't. How many tentacles does an octopus have? Fairly straightforward question.
I don't know.
I answered it with 8. Is that what you'd have gone with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong. An octopus doesn't have any tentacles. It's got 8 arms.
Oh.
Squid and cuttlefish have got 2 tentacles and also 8 arms. Tentacles have got suction cups at the very end. Arms have got suction cups all the way along.
My arms haven't got suction cups all the way along.
You're not a mollusk, though, are you, dickhead?
Are octopi mollusks?
They are. Because they have no bones. What's the other one? Mollusks. Cephalopods. Cephalopods have bones. Squids and cuttlefishes have partly boned mantles, which means they are cephalopods, whereas an octopus is a mollusk because it has no bones at all.
Okay.
Because I had to fucking Google octopi because I didn't believe my son about his arms. That's right. I called him out and he was not a liar. He was, in fact, more educated than I was about marine animals. So my world is shaken.
Great. But my question was, do we have anything to talk about at the beginning of the podcast? And I haven't introduced it yet. So are we going to do that again? Or shall I just try and edit it?
Edit it in.
Yeah.
Would you still love me if I was an octopus?
Yes. Because I think you'd be like the ones at the beginning of Finding Nemo, where it's like, one of my tentacles is shorter than the others, but if I go like this, nobody can tell.
I just thought John would give really, really good hugs because he'd have 6 more arms.
I think he'd take up pickpocketing.
Just imagine how good he'd be at climbing. He's got suction cups, screw fingers and grip strength.
And think how big his bites of our food would be when we're not watching with that beak that he'd have.
He'd just sneak it under his mantle and just, like, chomp straight away.
Holy shit.
What?
Google has done a cool thing.
Right?
Started showing you octopi.
Yeah, if you just search octopus on your Google phone, or whatever you call it, you scroll down a little bit and it says, meet a life-size octopus up close. And then you click on it and you view it in 3D. It's mental.
Oh, wow. Ah, I'm looking at its bumhole.
Class, cephalopoda, order, octopoda.
I've seen an octopus in the wild. It really scared me. Me and my brother were swimming in the Blue Lagoon off of Malta.
I've seen someone prod an octopus and it inked and squirted and jetted off. So, let me get this straight. We've come here to do a podcast and all 3 of us are looking at a 3D model of an octopus.
Yeah.
Should
we dive right in? Okay, so question 1. Would you rather be alone or the third wheel?
I'd rather be alone these days.
I'd rather be a third wheel, if I'm honest. You never know.
What do you never know? There was something eerily morbid about both of your answers.
Well, I just don't think that you can have important, interesting and relevant discussions alone.
I tend to get the best conversation when I'm talking to myself.
Well, you're lucky then, because I can't. The conversation with me is pretty shit.
Because there's no one else to disagree with, so you end up disagreeing with yourself, and in that case, you're always wrong.
That's true. Maybe for yourselves. But I had to go up to Scotland and do some training, and I was there by myself. And it was all right. I thought it was going to be awful, but I could do everything at my own pace, everything at my own time. It was quite nice and leisurely because I had a lot of time to kill between sort of cramming study sessions. It sounds really sad, but I went to dinner by myself. The first few times it was awful because I felt crap and lonely. But then when you go to somewhere and you eat alone more than sort of 2 or 3 times, the staff come over and have a chat with you if it's not particularly busy. So on a random Tuesday night, I went to a place called Monterey Jacks. Big at Monterey Jacks in Perth. Very, very, very good eating establishment. And I believe they won Burger of the Year in Scotland. So that's the sort of place they are. Yeah, the waiting staff came over and we just had a chat until my food arrived. And then by the time I was just about finished, they'd finished waiting on other tables and they come over and we just chat. And it was quite nice having some company. But if I decided I didn't want any company, they'd more than happily just left me to it. Whereas third wheeling, are you really the company that either the other 2 people really want? Are they just too polite to tell you that they don't want you there?
Can I just double check? Three wheeling. Am I with a new couple, a long-term couple, or a Reliant Robin?
I mean, that's a very good point, because we'll keep with like the human aspect of it. You're not a car, or a tricycle.
In the same vein, I could be alone in a Reliant Robin, and then we could both be fighting the same argument.
Where John is Knight Rider, but a 3-wheeled van.
Yeah, but then I demand to be alone inside of him against his will. No, John, I don't want Radio 4.
Sorry, John. It's the only station.
God damn it, I'm sick of the Archers. Well, I'm not. And then you just hear the doors lock. Play with me, John. Forever. Yeah, I think that's a very good point, depending on the kind of the other 2 people that you're with. Because if it's a new couple, they're probably not going to want you there.
Yeah, that's the kind I would most enjoy. Because I could lord over them my relationship status being much longer than theirs and give them counselling and tips.
When all they want you to do is leave so they can do all the stuff that new couples do. Whereas if you're the third wheel with an established couple, they're probably quite welcoming of the company.
The thing is, if I was to hang out with John and his wife for a day, I don't think I'd be third wheeling, because I'm friends with both of them, and I think that John's wife and I would gang up on him for a period of time until I became unwelcome.
But as John said, he would rather be the third wheel, so in that case, he'd be the third wheel.
How have I become the third wheel in my own marriage?
I'm sorry, John, I have that effect.
Yeah, but it is difficult, because, I mean, I'm not going to answer that question as to what kind of couple you're with, but it's still almost the 2-on-1 type thing of being the third wheel. No matter how good friends you are with them, they're obviously a couple because they have their interests together. Whereas being alone, like John said, you are kind of in charge of your own fun. Whereas I think if you're third wheeling, either you're going to end up doing the things that they've decided they want to do because they gang up on you, or maybe you're the fun third wheel and you try and force them into doing stuff that they don't particularly want to, but they're going to do because they're trying to entertain you. And then
yeah, I think that's what would happen.
But and then as the third wheel, you might be doing what you want to do, but you can normally kind of tell the resentment of the couple. So it's
I don't get that.
I was just trying to think. The last time I was third wheeled, and Matt, it's when you came to my house. You kept telling my wife that you almost died together and that you've known her longer than I have, and you both started picking on me, and I quite wished I was alone right then.
But we did nearly die together, and I have known her longer than you.
I know!
So, what's your problem?
I wish I was alone. God, you two are insufferable.
So, on this podcast, who's the third wheel?
I think I am.
You definitely are when me and Matt start talking about penis jokes and you shut up and just leave us to it. It's like when couples start making out really intently and you're like, wow, okay, it's not something I really want to be a part of right now. But it happens and you have to deal with it.
I think it's just John's a bit more highbrow than we are. And we've definitely we've definitely broken him down over the last 18 months, but he's still
He said the C word about Jeremy Corbyn.
Was it about Corbyn or was it about Boris? I mean, I think it's, it applies to both. But even yet, so I think, that makes it difficult now.
Why?
Well, because my original thought process was leaning towards more being alone, because you need to learn to be happy in yourself before you can learn to be happy around others. But I think I'd rather be the third wheel on this podcast than be making one by myself.
Quite right.
And
hang on. Who says we're talking about podcasts?
No, but we're just talking about third wheeling in general. And also, if, say I wasn't the third wheel, think about the other people in that relationship. If one of you was having a bit of a rough time, I'd much rather you came and third wheeled with me and my fiancée than me at home with my fiancée knowing you were home alone.
But it's not your choice then whether to inflict myself upon you and be a third wheel.
No, I know.
Thank you for the offer. I do appreciate it.
It's totally your choice, John. But think about
I recognise
more than just yourself.
Third wheeling and making your life. If I realised I was third wheeling and making your life a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit uneasy because you couldn't feel like you could be yourselves because I was third wheeling the hell out of the situation,
that would make me feel better.
Yeah, knowing that you're okay. So what I'm saying is when you choose to be alone, you need to think about how you're making other people feel. So third wheeling wins. Being alone is selfish.
Who knew?
I'll quote you on that when I turn up at your house and invade your privacy for an undisclosed, far too lengthy period of time.
I mean, it's not me that you'd be upsetting. I think Lauren would have something to say, but I'd absolutely enjoy Lodger that would play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 with me.
Oh, when you put it like that, John wins, yeah.
Yeah.
That means Lauren will be third wheeling and she'll be unhappy.
But she'll be happy that I'm happy. She
No,
won't.
don't
She
work like
won't.
that.
It would be 48 hours and she'd be asking me when you were leaving. But
Is Pro Skater 3 the one that has the Ace of Spades on the music track?
yes, I believe it is.
Oh, that's the one I had.
Where the first level you're in a warehouse.
I think so, yes.
2 and 3 were the good ones.
The original Tony Hawk's Underground was amazing. I quite like that.
Yeah,
Because you could get off the board, and it made the world so much more interactive and interesting.
I didn't buy a skateboarding game to get off the skateboard. Otherwise, I'd have bought Tony Hawk's Pro Walker 3.
No, you get off the skateboard to climb a big fuck off ladder, and then you bomb into swimming pools from
I don't want to climb a
900
ladder.
foot up.
Otherwise, I'd have bought Tony Hawk's Pro Climber 3.
You can't grind up a vertical surface unless it's like Tony Hawk's 2 maybe.
Watch me.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there is merits for both. But what I'm saying is, if you're at home now alone listening to our podcast, go and find a couple that you know, force them to listen to it as well, and not only will you treble our fan base, but also you won't be alone anymore.
Yay!
So win, freaking win.
Win-win.
I mean, that's my suggestion. But do we have an actual suggestion of the week?
I have a suggestion. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Yesterday I was walking to train station and I was walking across the top of the T on a T junction to get to the other side, the other pavement. And as I was walking across, a car decided that it wanted to turn in. It wanted to turn left into the... And rather than wait patiently, because pedestrians have priority when they're in the middle of the road, he beeped at me. I didn't walk any quicker because I don't respond to that kind of thing. So then he started revving his car and speeding up to try and sort of mow me down, I guess. And my instinctive reaction was to turn around, give him the finger and tell him he was a wanker. And then I continued to cross the road. Now, he then got out of his car and started following me down the road, shouting at me, telling me that I should come over there so that I could repeat what I said. And I didn't. I carried on. But the moral of this story is my suggestion is not to swear at car drivers who are aggressive, but to learn a martial art so that you can take them on and kick their ass.
Now, I agree with you to a certain degree, but most martial arts forbid you from actually using it except in self-defense.
Not MMA. MMA is all about kicking people in the head.
Okay, then
And then when they're on the ground, start punching them in the face just to make sure that you win.
Okay, so more specifically, what we're saying is everybody should learn MMA.
Everyone take up cage fighting.
Okay.
And then if everyone takes up cage fighting, then the guy who thought he was big and clever driving his car trying to mow our friend down would think twice about it, because John could turn around and just punch him square in the face through the window of his car. If he had that fear that actually the pedestrian that he's going to go and mow down could wipe him out, he may have been more polite.
My suggestion is everybody who looks like they wouldn't be able to handle themselves in a fight studies MMA, so that those people because if that was a 6'9", bodybuilder, the mountain from Game of Thrones who'd done that, he would not have got out of his car. He's seen the extremely pretty John and gone, oh, well, I'm not scared of him because John looks pleasant. So therefore he's just assumed that if there was to be an altercation, he could bully his way through it. So, yeah, very specific, but I agree. It's not my reaction when I'm driving to beep at people. I normally just swear, but I'm not a beeper. I beeped for the first time yesterday, and I know for a fact that it was my first time because I had to try twice, because the first time I missed because I didn't know where the horn was. But a dickhead completely cut me up and very nearly clipped the front of my car. But I'd never beeped before, and it did make me laugh and calm down a bit, because I was like, I don't even know where my horn is.
I don't mind people beeping at other cars, but I think it's just wrong to beep at pedestrians, full stop, because pedestrians just got no response to it. I can't beep back at you.
Yeah, just scream it.
Just scream it. And it's very loud when you're standing outside in front of a car that beeps at you. It's unnecessarily aggressive.
My instant reaction when I'm a pedestrian, which since I've learnt to drive, I do my best to not walk anywhere. But if I'm in the same situation as you, my instant reaction then is to stop, because the guilt that would go through them when they do hit me far outweighs me swearing at them and then possibly getting my ass kicked. Because let's be honest, in those kind of situations, they're not going fast enough that they're going to do any serious damage, but enough damage that you could possibly, where there's a blame, there's a claim, and cause them plenty more issues. So that's always my instinct.
I actually said to my wife on the train afterwards, I said, I wish he'd actually hit me, or I'd just stood still instead of moving out of the way so that he'd hit me. And she reminded me that I don't get sick pay at work. So,
Anyway, shall we have question 2?
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather play darts or pool?
Personally, I'd rather... I was going to say pool, because I don't tend to play darts that much, and I'm not very good at it. But I'm going to go with darts anyway, because I think you could do more with it. I think you could set up maps and go, where am I going to go next? And throw your dart. You could set up pictures of people you don't like and go, oh, there you go. Stuck one in the nose of...
the man who was driving the car?
Yeah, or that Bruce fella.
That Bruce fella?
Too jolly.
The guy that tried to run you over?
Yeah, I could do that to him. I think darts tournaments themselves look more exciting as a spectator than Well, I mean, I can't say I've ever seen a pool tournament, but certainly snooker tournaments. Snooker tournaments, you have to sit there in suspense really quietly. Darts, people just get drunk, they're doing dressing up, they're dancing on the tables, they look mental. They look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be joining them, you'd be playing.
Yeah, but the
Yeah, but
darts
everyone
players,
else-
they're just getting smashed as well.
No, they're not. Drinking
Yeah,
is against the rules.
Oh, it didn't used to be back in the old days.
No, it really didn't, no. I think pool is a more accessible sport because I don't know anyone that plays darts. I know of a few people that do, and when the people that I know have like said, oh, I went to the pub and played darts with so and so, who I've met through a friend of a friend, and the friend of a friend has absolutely fucking trounced the other person because if you play darts, you fucking play darts. Whereas I think everyone, as long as they understand angles and cause and effect, can play pool. Whereas you need to have muscle memory and you need to have the knack to be able to just churn darts into the right part of the board continuously and consistently. Whereas in pool, if you don't like the way the game's going, you clout those balls and the whole landscape of the game changes. And people can just be generally unlucky and pot the black accidentally. And there's a way of getting a cheap, easy win. And then you refuse to play them ever again with a one victory in your belt because you're only as good as the last game you played.
I'm nothing if not elitist, so I'm fine with that.
That is true, Mr. I work in the city. I've seen a couple of televised pool tournaments, and they seem about as rowdy as you can get for non-darts players, so I think they'd be a good time as well. It's a working man's game. They're both a working man's game, and I think they're both very fun to play, but I don't like the elitist snobbery that does come with the darts, as you say, John.
Don't you think you're more likely to get swindled at pool? That's the kind of thing that people do. They pretend to be crap at pool and then
because everyone reckons they've got a shot in pool. It's more accessible.
Yeah, exactly. You're more likely to get swindled.
Only if you're silly enough to put money on the table.
So let's say we
I'm
go
not
to the
gambling.
pub. What are the benefits of the two sports for us? So the three of us went to the pub.
Yep. I could get hammered and play pool really badly. I couldn't get hammered and play darts because I'd lose track of the numbers and somehow end up with 1,000 points, and it's supposed to go down. So I think there's a responsibility of keeping score properly to play darts. That
There is
goes out the window after 6 pints.
There's a place in London where you can play darts, and it has like cameras and stuff on the board, and it keeps track for you, and you can play like mini games that aren't like a proper game of darts. They're just like different types of games. And it like does a video as you like throw your dart. So if you throw the winning dart, you like see the reaction, a replay of it. So you could always go somewhere like that if you were that worried. But
yes, I'm definitely going to go to the 3 tons in Huntingdon and have my video dart fantasies played out in front of me.
Well, if the three of us are going to go to the pub together, at least 2 of us are going to have to do some travelling. So it may as well be to this place I just said.
Whereas we could meet in the middle and meet in almost any pub, and there'll probably be a pool table.
The benefits of us playing darts would be that nobody's going to interrupt us. As John said, fewer people probably play darts. So if we've got the dartboard, that's it. Whereas people think they can interrupt pool, they come and put their own 50p piece or their pound coin down on the table and go, I'm next. You go, oh, fuck off, we're playing.
Yeah, but you're not playing all night, are you? You're going to sit down and drink because that's what you're doing, pubs.
No.
Because if you're on the dart bar all night and hogging the thing, then that's not very kind, is it?
I'm that kind of person. Yeah, I want to play. Not really interested in anything but competitiveness.
And the 3 of us could play killer, so that would be a one-on-one, well, one-on-one-on-one, 3-way game. You'll get so many lives, keep potting balls, people that miss balls lose lives.
I mean, you
Much-
both
it's
make
much
good
better than
points. The only point that I haven't liked so far is that for me to go to the pub with you guys and play a game, I have to travel from up north to London, which is not only going to be expensive, but then also travel to the place where the pints are also the most expensive in the country.
I'm willing to bet that up north, where you live, there has got to be a good darts venue. There must be. I just know about this place in London because I happen to live in London. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the places that much.
I genuinely think, and we know how much trains cost, but I think you could get a train ticket return up to around where I live, and we could go out on the Lash, and it would be cheaper for you than if I got a train down to you and we went on the Lash.
Potentially.
No, as in like you coming up with a train ticket and getting drunk where I live would be cheaper than if you just went out in London.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay, I was just checking. It's difficult. I think pool can be more interesting, but I think darts there's less luck to it. There's more skill to it, like you said. I like the way that it includes maths. I do like numbers. I think.
Hold on, before you make your decision.
Okay.
You're in a pub, and someone's throwing darts. There's always that one really pissed guy that just walks mindlessly across the pub without any consideration for what's going on. And there's been videos of it. People have been hit inside the head with darts. It's not cool. It's not for other people that are, not very aware. And also, tetanus. Rusty old darts in a pub. Tetanus.
I'm going to go with darts.
Oh.
Because of a couple of reasons. A, all three of us could play darts together. And
all three of us could play pool together.
You can't play proper pool together. It is a two-person sport.
So it's darts?
No.
Yeah.
No, darts is usually maybe in like the mainstream competitions, but you take it in turns on darts. You could have a game with as many people as you like. And it's similar to bowling in that sense that, especially with the three of us, while one of us is throwing our darts, the other two are having a drink and watching. And then it circulates, so you get a bit of a conversation with everyone, or we can just have a loud conversation, the three of us. With pool, there would be a third wheel, and a bad third wheel, because that third wheel would be left out and be alone while two people are playing pool, and the third one would just be watching. And also, I was still umming and ahhing because I think I do prefer pool, but I think if there was three of us, I'd go for darts. But the main reasoning being, yes, I do like the added danger of darts over pool. I like the fear that someone might walk in front of the dartboard. I hope it happens.
Do you also let go of the steering wheel and close your eyes when you go down the motorway?
No, but I don't close my eyes when I play darts either. I have done before, actually. And to be honest, I've had a dartboard, I've had a pool table, and my dartboard got more use than my pool table to actually play the game. So, yeah, I think darts. Controversial, I know.
Unexpected.
So yeah, that question ended with a flop. Shall we have a third one?
Yeah, can do.
Oh, the saltiness. Can you hear that, audience, how salty it is that Paul didn't win? So, would you rather be the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Lion, or Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz?
That's definitely taking your average above once every 40.
I know.
I'd rather be Dorothy.
Oh, then John and I would be a friend of Dorothy's. That's a euphemism for being homosexual, isn't it?
Is it?
I'm sure it is. Friend of Dorothy, Wikipedia. In gay slang, a friend of Dorothy, FOD, is a gay man, and more broadly, any LGBTQ person. The phrase dates back to at least World War II, when homosexual acts were illegal in the United States. Oh, even better, the dictionary input for Google is noun, informal, a homosexual man. Example, Harry's a real friend of Dorothy, aren't you, Harry?
Harry's face looks unimpressed because he's just been outed.
Yeah, that was our secret.
Yeah, so I'd rather be Dorothy because I like that she has an exit mechanism. We were talking earlier about how I'd prefer to be the third wheel, and I definitely still would. But if I had her shoes, once I tire of your company, I can tap my heels together and say, "There's no place like home," and shit, I'm in Kansas.
Yeah, why do you want to go back to Kansas?
I've been to Kansas.
Wait, did the shoes actually work in the end? I thought she escaped on a hot air balloon.
I thought it was Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
No, that was a glass elevator.
Oh, equally ridiculous form of transport.
Well, hot air balloons are real. Glass elevators that fly by magic aren't.
Says who?
Says me. Yeah. And
All right.
physics. Come on, John, you've not answered yet anyway.
I'm trying to figure out the best way of incorporating Alexis on Fire lyrics into answering the question. So I'd rather be the poor little Tin Man, still swinging his axe, even though my joints are clogged with rust.
Did he get rusty because he was crying?
I'm not sure.
It's a long time since I've watched The Wizard of Oz.
How did he get like tears in the joints of his arms and his knees and his elbows?
I don't know. Wasn't there a urban legend that a load of the Munchkins killed themselves on the set or like after filming it or something? Am I making that up?
I think you are. I know something that is factually accurate. Is the lion costume in the original production in the 60s was made from an actual lion.
I'm sure it was from before the 60s. I thought it came out in like the 30s.
Probably the 30s. I don't know. John, use Google for us. Find out when it came out.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think I've overtaken as the Google king recently, but there's so many. Yeah, 1940s.
1939 apparently. Not that I used Google or anything. Yeah, the actual lion costume was made from a real lion that was killed, and I think his hide was reappropriated. I don't think he was killed for the specific use of being turned into a human lion. It's actual lion fur for the costume.
That's kind of horrendous.
Yeah.
Whereas being the Tin Man, I will be made of recyclable materials, so I'll be reusing the world's waste to reanimate myself and to hopefully make the world a better place.
So just to go back, just so we can be factually accurate, there is apparently a scene where in the background it looks like a Munchkin has hanged themselves, but the studio's official line is that it was a shadow cast by a large crane. The man who played the Tin Man ended up with iron lung from his silver makeup, and the stunt double and actress that played the Wicked Witch both got third-degree burns from the broomstick that was basically a painted smoking pipe, and it exploded.
Christ. Sounds like a dangerous place to be an actor.
I mean, health and safety in Hollywood probably wasn't the biggest concern of anyone in 1939. It's so bizarre to think that film came out as World War II was starting.
Only in Europe. It didn't start in America for a couple more years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were enjoying the Roaring Twenties and whatever.
They were enjoying the 20s in 1939. This is why he didn't want to play darts. So you'd want to be the Tin Man.
Yeah.
So you don't have a heart. And
yes.
And Dorothy.
Dorothy's the one that brings the team together, isn't she? The others all feel hopeless and don't know what to do, and she brings them all together, camaraderie and leadership skills.
It does watch a little bit like an episode of Pokemon.
It's very nice, but at the end of the day, you've got to remember the Tin Man's fucking metal. He's metal as fuck.
This is very true.
I could join any band and be like a singer, and you'd hear the steel reverberations from my voice box kicking through. It'd be amazing. I'd make Whitechapel sound like steps.
Why did the Tin Man fall asleep in that meadow? Is he like 50% man? So is he more like automaton?
I don't know, but if I was a Tin Man, I'd be I'd be a bit like Jesus. I'd be 100% metal, but I'd also be 100% man.
So you'd be
I'd be
200%.
inconceivable. I'd be 200% of anything. I'd
Okay.
be inconceivably awesome. Also, if I ever got bored of being the Tin Man, I could always gold up and pretend I was C-3PO. Halloween costumes would be quite easy to come by.
Yeah, true. Just going back to your point, John, about being Dorothy. Now, yes, you do have the ruby slippers, but as you said, you'd end up in Kansas. So you live in London. How useful are these slippers realistically?
Well, it's transatlantic travel. You get a quick ride to Kansas, and then
You also had to murder someone to get them. You stole those shoes. You dropped a house on someone and stole their fucking shoes.
And then what? It's
That's
only
really out of order, John.
That was
really out of order.
Natural disaster act of God rather than Dorothy actually threw a house onto someone.
Not the way I saw it.
Now that the house has fallen on her, you wouldn't want to waste these magical slippers. But yeah, you get to Kansas, and then what? Tops 2 hours to get to California, where you could go to Yosemite or San Fran, where you could meet lots of friends of Dorothy.
But this would be extremely difficult for you, as now. I mean, you've lived in London for how long now? A decade almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're basically, fully fledged Cockney. And how many times do you jump up in the air, tap your heels together? Ah, shit, I'm in Kansas again. And you have to go and wait in the airport. And they go, back again, back again, John. Yeah, I'm back again. One ticket to Luton, please, or Gatwick. Where is the soonest? I better call the wife. Hi, darling. Yeah, no, it happened again. Yeah, no, I need to stop hanging out with them chimney sweeps.
I may be scuppering my own argument here, but if John worked for some sort of intercontinental, extremely sneaky beaky courier service that happened to have a headquarters in Kansas, he could do a load of espionage, and then when he got caught, click his heels, bam, he's back in Kansas, back at HQ, and he could disseminate all the information that he's just learned.
Great plan.
Yeah.
Whereas if I were to be a super, I'd be made of fucking metal. And if people tried to shoot me, I'd be like, yeah, and what? I've got an axe, and then just turn everyone into meat chunks. Job done.
I mean, moving forward in the story, if my memory serves me correctly, in the sequel, Dorothy is in a mental hospital because, well, she's insane, and I'm quite sure that the Tin Man has been killed.
Says who? How do you kill a man made of metal?
In Return to Oz, I'm sure they find the Tin Man and he's been melted down.
It's a noble way to go. Like, in Terminator 2, the T-1000, played by Arnie, he said goodbye to save everyone, and he was melted down. Oh, I'd basically be the Terminator.
This is true.
He's 100% man. He's 100% robot. He's amazing. Oh, that means I'd have to go in front of Austrian Death Machine.
I just need to find out what happened to the...
Matt, you're using Google. You'll ruin the flow of the podcast.
But it's important.
Maybe you should have done your research.
He wasn't killed. He was turned to stone.
So he's gone from being metal to just rock.
Exactly. However, Dorothy does make friends with a talking chicken, so...
Yeah, and what have I always said? I'd rather be friends with a talking chicken. I've always said that.
Do you have?
I've always said that.
Fast forward to me going back, un-uploading the previous episodes and just sneaking in just clips into random parts into every all 82 episodes or however many we've got. If you go, I'd love to be friends with a talking chicken, just slot it in there, not ever referenced.
That would be an elaborate prank just to win an argument.
It would be, but
it would be worthwhile because I think that would be the first time that I've ever won all 3 questions.
It would be worthwhile for you because you're not the one that would be having to do it. So, based on your selfishness, I think the Tin Man wins.
Oh.
I just
I
think.
haven't got a heart, so I don't even care. Thank you.
Boom! He got you there.
I love the end of The Wizard of Oz, where it's like, oh, Mr. Scarecrow, you always wanted a brain? Here's a fucking honourable degree. That's like, oh, thanks, it's a piece of paper. Cheers. Oh, what? Tin Man, you wanted a heart? Here's a heart-shaped clock. All right, yeah, brilliant. And what did the Cowardly Lion get?
Hanger.
MMA lessons. I can't remember
That
what
was his Family Guy did a version of The Wizard of Oz, and no, it wasn't. It was Futurama did a spoof of The Wizard of Oz when one of them was passed out, and Dr. Zoidberg was the Cowardly Lion, and they said, right, okay, Cowardly Zoidberg, you wanted courage. We don't have any, so here's a handgun. Now you can be big and hard. Now you can be big and hard whenever you want. And Zoidberg was running around with a pistol, going, "Yeah, you want some?" Whoop, 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 whoop. So there we go. Moral of the story: don't ask for courage, because all you'll get is a pistol.
Don't ask for a friend of a talking chicken. Ask to be friends with a talking crab man.
Yes, that's a very valid point. What are you going on about? I mean, John, you could have won it as Dorothy if you just referenced that you owned a dog, but
I
that was
don't want to own a dog. That was the one flaw in the argument.
Yeah, but wasn't Toto just the dog in Oz? Because when she got back to the real world, it was the band that sings Africa.
Toto had been crushed by the tornado. No, I don't even want to own a dog just for a while. I just don't want to own one.
I think that you should do that, like, just moving forwards. Every time you wake up in the morning and you roll over and you have the morning chat with your wife, and you go, I had the strangest dream. Go, what did you dream about, John? She went, you were there, and you were there, and just there's nobody else in the room. It'd be better if you hired some actors, but just start talking to invisible people saying that they were all there.
And you just got John's section. Well done.
Yeah,
It's just you and me on the podcast now.
Yeah, but then he'll genuinely think he's friends with a talking chicken. I'm trying to help him achieve his dreams, John.
Wait, if John gets section, does that mean Nathan comes back?
Yes.
John, thank you for your efforts.
He can ask the questions for me next week.
While you're in the institution trying to explain, look, I'm not mad, but I'm telling you, you were there, and you were there, and you were there. And you're in an empty room. They're watching you on the camera, saying he's finally snapped. What would your chicken be called?
Cow.
Right. Well, on that comedy bombshell, these two have been John, and I have not been. Return to Oz was really, really creepy.
Who's that fucking Job, creepy fucking bald
Bees?
Beans. Oh, we did know
Somebody do it, let everybody goes